Airport Control Simulator is a horrific PC game. There is literally almost nothing good about it. In fact, I'll list the one good part of the game. The music is epic. The music just doesn't feel like it should be in this inferior product. The music feels like it should be in a really awesome, big budget, big studio RPG game or action-adventure game. And yet, it's part of this crappy, completely unrealistic simulation that just uses still shots from Google Maps or Earth. Using such horrible and cheap graphical tactics, you'd think there's no way such a graphically inferior game can ever lag, and yet it jitters and lags almost every second. It's horrible. It's like it's going at 5 frames per second. It's just unacceptable for such inferior graphics to perform so badly. I don't even want to talk about the gameplay. Please don't make me. Okay, here's the thing. You have a few things you're controlling. First of all, you're controlling where the actual plane goes, and you do that by moving around the arrow in front of the plane. Of course, you can also move the arrow backwards or forwards, make it longer or shorter, and that controls how fast the plane goes. And also there's a meter to actually lower the plane. Once you go to about 200 feet or so, the plane can land. Now, here's the thing. The game is incredibly slow and boring when you're playing at normal speed. The speed of 1.0. Actual speed of the game. You literally have to speed the game up to like twice as fast as the game is supposed to be, or 3 times as fast, to make it anything except boring. You know how you're playing The Sims and you speed the Sims up to skip something? Well, in this game, you speed the Sims up to the fastest they can go to actually enjoy The Sims. Yeah, but here's the thing. When you speed the game up, it actually makes the game almost impossible to play, especially when you're trying to land more than one plane. You see, speeding the game up doesn't just change the speed of the gameplay, it actually changes the whole physics dynamic of the plane flying. So the plane actually goes a lot faster, so it's a lot harder to make sharp turns and to line yourself up with the actual runway. It basically makes the game 5 times harder. It almost makes the game impossible when you're trying to land a whole bunch of planes and you're trying to keep track of how high and low your plane is, how far away your plane is from the actual runway, how much fuel you have. You actually have to keep in mind you have fuel. So the game is, this is the paradox of the game basically. It's incredibly hard and really tough to control when you're flying at 3 times the speed of the game. But also, 3 times the speed of the game is the only way you can have any fun in the game. It's the only non-frustrating speed you can play as. Because if you play at normal speed, it's basically like watching a turtle get to the water at the beach. It's like tediously boring. The game is too easy and too boring at one end of the spectrum, and at least a little fun, but almost impossible to play at the other end of the spectrum. There's no happy medium in this game. It's a catch-22 of gameplay, and it's really annoying me. It just feels like nothing in or about this game works right. Like, I recorded a bunch of gameplay footage of it for the review, and all of it was just completely choppy and laggy and completely unusable. I had to go out and just get some random footage from the internet for this review, which you're watching right now, just because it couldn't even record. It's like this game is cursed. A gypsy woman came into a bank and wanted to get a loan to make a decent flight simulator game, but they wouldn't let her have the loan, so she decided to just make the flight simulator anyway with no money whatsoever to hire decent programmers, and this is what we have now. A cursed flight simulator. One great thing about this game is, of course, it could be really deceptive to the enemies of freedom. Like, for example, if some Al-Qaeda terrorists try to use this game as a training tool for their next big attack, they're gonna screw that attack up, because this is nothing like an actual flight control simulation. Flight control simulations aren't supposed to be about direct control of the plane. You're supposed to be giving the planes commands. In this game, you're literally controlling every aspect of the plane. You're literally controlling the movement of the plane. It's not a flight control simulation. It's a top-down view of a flight simulation, basically. It is a 2D Microsoft flight game. Now, another thing you actually have to keep an eye on is the wind. And I'm not sure how big of a significance this is, but it can't possibly be as big as this game makes it out to be. It feels like these aren't planes, like commercial airliners seating 400 people, but rather like golf balls. Like the wind actually affects how your plane flies, and it pushes your plane a little bit. It's like completely ridiculous, especially this low to the ground where the plane is landing. The wind is not this much of a factor unless there's some kind of hurricane or some shit, and then there's no way they'd let you land anyway. Now, I've said a lot of bad things about this game, but the ultimate nail in the airport coffin here, the thing that really ties all the awfulness together, is just how repetitious it is. All the planes are basically the same, all the runways are the same, every single landing is the same. Just line your same old plane up with the same old runway, bring it down to speed at the same old time, and have the same old landing you've been having since the tutorial level. The game honestly feels like you're playing the same level over and over, just with more planes. But again, because every single action is exactly like the last one, there's no point in playing this game further than like level 2. It's all the same. Airport Control Simulator gets an official Stanburdman rating of a 2 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.